myself so I can tell you guys this story. Because every time I think about it, I am ready to fight. Last year, we went on a trip to LA. No offense to my LA people, but it's way too hyped up. It ain't as good as y'all make it out to be. And then everything's so expensive. Anyway, so we ended up going to Beverly Hills to a really, really nice restaurant. It was our anniversary dinner and my man was like, let's spend some money tonight. So we pull up and they sat us to our table. When I tell you the food was so good, but so expensive. Keep that in mind. That is so important. We took our baby to dinner with us because I can't afford flying out a babysitter across the nation just so she can take care of my daughter because I don't want to deal with her. Anyways, we were minding our own business. And this Karen, ooh, I'm getting so mad. So we inside this bougie restaurant minding our own business. And this Karen kept looking back at our table like if we owed her something. Like if our breath stank. Like if I was the one that stole her means. There was 3 other people with her and they all started mumbling with them stank faces. And then I was trying to figure this out. I was like, well, what's wrong? Do I got something on my face? And then she says, you need to quiet that thing down. The thing? The who? Who is the thing? And she pointed at my daughter. My daughter. Keep in mind, my daughter was on the iPad with really low volume. I swear to you, like she must have had some sonic ears. Because I know she did not hear what my daughter was watching. The music in there was way louder. And then, so after this Karen had the audacity, the caucasity to point at my daughter and say to quiet that thing down. It was not referring to the iPad. I know because I asked her to repeat it 3 times and she kept saying it about my daughter. I said, girl, you must have had me all messed up. I know I did not come from all across the nation, from my hood, to put this Beverly Becky in her place tonight. I was like, excuse me, ma'am. How can you hear the noise from her iPad if I'm sitting right next to her and I can't hear it myself? And I know I ain't deaf. We are literally like 20 feet away from each other. You just mad because a colored person is in here with you and you think they can afford a meal like this. You racist. And I said, manager.
I was hanging out with a friend of a friend and everybody else had gone to bed except for us. He was drunk. I was not. And he said we should go for a walk. And I said no. And he was like, well, why? And I said, I just don't want to. But the thing is that 1, I didn't know this guy. And 2, he was very drunk, which means for all I know, he could have killed me and then not remembered it in the morning. Like people would be like, where's Kate? And he would say, I don't know. And it wouldn't be a lie. And then if he got interrogated by the police and was taking a lie detector test and they said, did you commit a homicide last night? He would say no and he would pass because that's what he believed because he wouldn't remember anything. That would actually be like a good movie, maybe. Like a detective who blacks out one night and the next day gets assigned a grisly murder case. And the whole movie, he doesn't know that he's tracking himself. Oh.
So I thought I would share with you guys the craziest accident I was in. So literally, it was about 6 years ago, exactly like today. It had to have been August 26th or August 27th. This same morning, my man had been in an accident in my car and got hit. So I went to make sure that he was doing okay and I went to congratulate him on being able to pass his CDL license even though he destroyed my car. Even though it wasn't his fault, it's fine. Even though I still have my broke down car. Even though he still hasn't bought me my Range Rover. But anyways, this is a story for another day. If you're watching this, it's been a long time. I hope you've been saving up for my car. So we're leaving the DMV and we're getting on the highway. It was slightly raining because it had rained all day in the morning. When I'm getting on the highway, my wheels start losing control. My truck just starts spinning. I am literally spinning. And I'm telling you, I saw everything in slow motion. I still remember this woman's face. It was like a miracle that I didn't hit a single other car. But I ended up flipped on the side of the highway. So If you haven't watched my last story time, go watch that so this can make sense. I feel like I didn't emphasize on how crazy the experience was. See, I'm like on the beginning side of the freeway, and I ended up on the opposite side of the freeway. As I'm speeding in slow motion, I see cars right, left, right, left, right, left. I remember seeing this woman in a bun. I'm so serious. I saw her in slow motion. Like, I know she wanted to wave. This girl did not wave at me. Like, girl, my eyes were just like, help. I literally let go of the steering wheel. It was just like Carrie Underwood said, Jesus, take the wheel, and he did, because it wasn't me. I know God's angels was looking out for me because there was cars passing me and I didn't hit none of them. So when I ended up flipped on the other side, I could not get out. My entire truck was like totaled. My man ran across the freeway to stop traffic just so he could save me. He could have been killed. I would have been a widow. Married to a rich man. I'm just kidding. It was traumatizing.
I think I just accidentally on purpose catfished one of my friends of almost 8 years because I texted him and I said, hey, I'm working on this big project right now and it just happens to be the same thing that you do for work and I just had a couple questions for you. And he texted me back and he said, oh, hey, Max, that's super cool to hear. And my name is not Max. And I was like, ooh, he took a shot and he missed. He could have just said, new phone, who dis? He could have said, sorry, I don't recognize your number. He could have said anything else, but he wrote out a name? And also, how do you not have my number, dude? We've known each other 8 years, for starters. Second, was there some kind of a falling out that we had that you didn't tell me about? Because that would have been nice to know. And so anyway, I was like, fine, if he wants me to be Max, I can be Max. And it wasn't that I pretended to be Max. I just didn't correct him. And we kept talking. And then I started to feel bad because he was actually being super helpful. And I thought maybe I should set up a lunch to like chat with him a little bit more about this. And then when he arrives, he'll be like, where's Max? And I'll be like, surprise, bitch! But then he suggested to me that we should do a collab of some kind together. He's like, yeah, we can collaborate on a strategy together. He said we should collaborate on a strategy together if you want. It could be cool. Like, it's one of my favorite things to do. And I was like, ooh, now I should really tell him that I'm not Max. But first, I went to his Instagram and I went to the list of people that he follows and I found Max, and Max is a lady. Max is a hot lady. And she has abs. Not just like the little starter pack of abs, but she has like 6 whole abs. And I zoomed in to make sure they weren't photoshopped, and they weren't. And now I don't know how to text him and be like, hey man, this isn't Max with the rock hard abs. This is Kate with the squishy everything. I was hanging out with my friend and her kids, and her daughter was coloring right next to me. And all of a sudden I heard her daughter taking like a really sharp breath, and I looked over and she was sniffing her marker. She was just like smelling them is glory. She's 5. She was like smelling them as glory. And then she saw me looking at her and she said, do you want to sniff it? And I said, no, thank you. That seems like a slippery slope for me. And her mom was like, they're scented. We bought her scented markers for her birthday. That's why she does that.